Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having a fantastic, fantastic day, and may peace be upon you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching my show with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil, the host for Yes, I Can, the secrets to life, business, and career success. And today I have incredible guests with me coming all the way from Malaysia. And this guest that I met in Malaysia when I was conducting a training for USIM, which is one of the top universities in Malaysia. They're all authors. They're also lecturers and members of the faculty at USIM University. And I'm so, so excited and thrilled to have them. So I just wanted to welcome each and every one of them, Professor Zurina, Dr. Nathasa, and Datin Dr. Saoora. So ladies, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi.
Let's give a big
Thank
wave
you.
to everybody.
Thank you for having Thank you for having me, for having us.
Yeah. Thank you so much
Nice meeting you
for
again.
joining me today. Thank you so much for joining today. And each of them are authors. So Datin Saoora, Datin Dr. Saoora have her book, Psychology dari Perspektif Islam and Barat. And she is with the Leadership and Management faculty. And then Dr. Nathasa has her book, The Management of Wakaf. And she is with the Faculty of Economy and Muamalat, and Professor Zurina. Her book called Governance and Sharia Audit from the same faculty, Faculty of Economy and Muamalat. So today we're going to be discussing about the challenges, the solutions, basically kind of the journey to become an author, because it's not an easy journey to become an author. There is the challenge of time. There is the challenge of family. There is the challenge of the career. There's the challenge of the children. There's also the challenge of having the self-confidence and overcoming the doubt that you have yourself, that your voice is worthy, that, you know, I can do this. Because most of the time that I hear, even in myself, would be like, I don't think people are just gonna want to know what I have to say. I've got not much things to say. So I'm gonna come to Datin Dr. Saoora first. And she is an incredible, incredible author. She's written many, many books. She's been into places, she's been into various kind of media with her books. She's kind of like a celebrity in her field, like she's one of the top people in her field. So first of all, I wanted to ask Datin, so Datin, remember the first time that you wanted to write your book? What was, I know like it might seem years ago, but what was that experience like for you? Like what was the emotion or the event or the turning point that you're like, you know what, this is my time, I want to write this book?
All right, thank you, Dr. Izdihar. You are in California, is it?
Yes, I am in California.
Yeah, okay, now it's Malaysia, is I think is 9 something. So thank you for having us here. Well, when you asked me when was the first time, you know, I started to write a book, I think it was a very, very, very long time ago, once upon a time. But I could still remember it was, you know, I was a lecturer and I am still a lecturer. Getting a Bahasa Melayu, a Malay book, writing something on theory in psychology or in counseling is very, very difficult, Dr. Izdihar. I could still remember when I was a student doing psychology, it was very difficult for me to find a Malay book that writes about the theory of psychology and also the theory of counseling. So when my students, you know, asked me, were there Malay books that writing on the theory of psychology? So then it struck my mind that I need to do something, Izdihar. Yeah? I need to write so that I could impart the knowledge which is in Bahasa. So the process slowly came to me, and then as I lecture, then I put all the notes together, and finally it took me about a year or two to come out with a very simple book at that particular time. Now, it was a very, very long time. I guess it was about 15 or about 16 years ago. You mentioned about that I have written quite a lot of books here, but the process was never easy, because when you want to write even a book, you really need first your courage, and then your stamina, your knowledge, and everything has to put into one thing. And then finally, when you want to come up with a book, it is a very lengthy, tiring, but at the end, it will pay off. This is basically the history of how I came out with the book. It started with my lecture notes, Izdihar.
Wow, I think that is incredible, Datin Saoora, to have it, because you wrote it out of the need of the audience, like the market, in a way that the market or your students at that time were like, Datin, we need something in as a reference to Malay. And, writing English and Malay is completely different animal, even though if the translation part is a completely different language and linguistic, coming out the needs for others. And just like you said, is the collocation of your lecture notes. Like you would gather the lectures. It took you about a year or two for the whole process to come up together, which is, but in itself, the persistence, the patience, and the commitment in itself is incredible. And then, dare I say that then that it becomes addictive after the first one, or did it have another demand? Because then you wrote the next one and then the next one. Did it get a little bit easier after the first one, or it is kind of like the same experience, the process? I think the process is still the same. It's, putting down your idea and then review it. Did it get a little bit easier from there?
But well, it did, but it did not, because you see, when you started to write your first book, and then your second book, and your third book, and your fourth, fifth, sixth book, but finally there was a time you will think of, I need to write a book of very good quality. Yeah, I need to write a book that people will remember. Yeah. So when that time came, it was not easy. Yeah, even though you have written many books, more than 10 books, but when you start to write a book that you want people to remember, then it is very, very difficult, Izdihar. Then the process is that you need to think of what are the materials that you need to write on. And that is the time when it seems that you cannot write anything. Yeah, because you wanted to write something that will be permanently remembered, but then what is it? What is the material? And that was the particular time, it was very difficult for me. But it came out that when I did my, they call it Syarahan Perdana, is it in Bahasa? What is it in Bahasa? Is it Syarahan Perdana?
I don't know, it's the debate, right?
It's lecture. Public lecture, yeah.
The public lecture.
Inaugural lecture, it took me 2 years to come with a manuscript, for my inaugural lecture. And that was the most difficult part of my life, when I really, really took time off, and being alone with myself to come up with this manuscript for inaugural lecture. Then the process of writing that book at that time for 2 years was very difficult for me. So your question is whether it become easier or it become difficult. It depends on what kind of material or what kind of book do you want to write.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Datin, for the wisdom. And, it's a process that goes up and down, right? There are parts it's going to be easier. There are parts it's going to be a little bit harder. There are parts where you literally have to take yourself out from you. Just like Datin said, she literally had to be with herself to have an impactful idea to that. So thank you so much, Datin, for your thoughts. And I want to jump into Dr. Nathasa, talking about impactful idea, impactful method, because Dr. Nathasa, your book on the management of wakaf, which is the management of, I'd like to explain what is wakaf means properly. So it is a topic that isn't, it's not an everyday topic that people talk about. It's not like we talk about we're going to lose weight, this is how we do it. It has to have the research, the idea, the methodology of it. So the impact is something that is an evergreen impact. So did it give you a lot of pressure to have this book in? Because, you know, it's kind of like a subject that is in a way black and white, and you got to be sure on what you have to say and when you want to make an impact. So what was that journey like for you, Dr. Nathasa?
Okay, thank you very much, Izdihar. This topic is actually quite close to me. I first wrote this book like 7 years ago, when I initially started writing, especially for my PhD and all that. I am focusing on corporate sector. But then when I started to write this book, it's on Islamic-based institutions. So Wakaf is actually Islamic endowment, right? So when I love to write with the first thing that I think make me more motivated to write. So it's a good teamwork where we can share ideas, share knowledge that make this book doable, because we can share all our knowledge, our skills. So talking about the impact that you mentioned earlier, I know that sometimes we are not so sure for Islamic endowment. We want to give our hard-earned money to another institutions. So I think with these books, people will read it and they have more faith on institutions and how they manage it and what are the contribution of these institutions to the society. So I really hope these books that I write with others can really motivate and encourage people to at least share their hard-earned money or their belonging to others. So I think that's the impact that I really want readers to have faith on these institutions and contribute back to the society.
That's a great idea, because you mentioned you touch about teamwork, Dr. Nathasa,
Yes.
because I think this is an anthology book. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's an anthology multi-author book. And that is, anthology multi-author book is one of my favorite ways to write books. That's what I do. I produce a lot of anthology books to help other authors, other women to come together and share their voices. So teamwork, it is, because it's such a it's a topic that is not huge, but it's also a very specific topic, Waqf, which is endowment, which is a very specific term in the Islamic Sharia or Islamic law. So, and as an expert, you cannot know everything there is to know about Waqf or Islamic endowment, because there's so many,
right.
even though it's just one word, right? Waqf, like Islamic, it's just one word, but there's so many aspects to it. So let's talk about, Dr. Nathasa, let's talk about what gave you the idea of reaching out to others to come together and write a book on this topic. For example, you have your expertise and this person have the expertise. Do you feel that in a way that when you come together in a teamwork, this is one of the questions that I get. A lot of the time, people do not want to come together to share their knowledge because they feel that it is going to impact their credibility, because they're like, I don't know this person, I don't know this person what to say, you know, I want to be on my own. So what is kind of like your point of view in that perspective?
Okay, I believe that we are human beings, we don't know everything, right? Okay, so like myself, I'm from accounting and finance background. So if I want to have a good impact on this topic or any topic, I have to work together with others. So others have other experts. And then I think brainstorming, talking to others, share knowledge and ideas is a very good way for us to produce a very quality and good product. So I think, I know there will always be a challenge. They all have other commitments, they have their own ideas. But I think that makes us more courage, have more commitment, how to manage ourselves and people's. And I think It's not really a huge problems about the how to manage the teamwork. So as long as everybody have a good commitment and have actually the same goals and believe in how to produce a good product to others.
Thank you so much, Dr. Natasha. I think teamwork is, one of the best things that you can have. And I also wanted to highlight that with the people in your team, you had the opportunity to choose them, right? I think that's what people are forgetting. You get to choose who gets to be in your team. Like, for example, when I want to have a team, let's say I want to create a book project, or want to have the media appearances, I choose my team, who are my clients, who do I want to have it. It's just like a championship, isn't it? Like any kind of team sport, you want to have the best people in there that can work together, because otherwise your team is going to be the last team, and nobody wants to have the last
we
team.
must have the same goals, right? And everyone to have the same goals. That's important. Goals and commitment, that's two things that I think is very important in the team.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Dr. Natasha, for your sharing. And now I want to jump into Prof Zurina with the idea, something that Dr. Natasha and Datin Saoora mentioned, the idea of courage, the idea of putting yourself out there, the idea of putting yourself forward. When we met, you said before that your idea is you have an expertise in your idea, because that's you're the expert in it. But at the same time, putting yourself forward and sharing it, making it simple, putting yourself forward is kind of can be a little bit of a challenge to that. So Prof Zurina, what would you say that is your inspiration in having, one, writing the book, and two, putting yourself forward to share your ideas? Because otherwise, let's face it, if we don't put ourselves forward, our book is just going to die. Nobody's going to know about it. And what's the point of having this idea being immortalized in a book if nobody knows about it?
Yeah, Dr. Izzy, thank you for the question. About the idea or the need to go forward and put yourself out there to offer what are the value that we can give to the industry, to the students, to the society. It's a big responsibility, and actually it's a good motivation as well. It's it's an external motivation, but then it will start to ask the question to you, like, after so long, for you to gain the competence from the study, from the PhD study, as well as after that, probably now I can say that I'm in the academic 15 years in the industry. So I was the block for me was previously was that I have to make sure the fallacy of competency, that I have to know, I have to have competence, so to call, for me to be able to have the confidence to go. You can see the amount of book that I have at my back. I remembered reading about a book about writing itself. I mean, I purchased a lot of book and read a lot of book, like Stephen King on writing. I mean, I not only read his book, his normal book, but how he write and so on. It gives some motivation, but then of course their unique ways of doing things probably wouldn't fit us. But then again, to me the biggest challenge is to really say that I really have to do it. I don't have to wait until I know everything. And I think what saves me in a way, like Dr. Natasha has mentioned, is the teamwork. When we are in academic, all our writing, probably that is too much to say, but significant amount of writing comes from our research. Then when we where we develop the competency that I have mentioned, then we will start to have the what it takes to write a book. And then from research, and we develop, and then we innovate probably some products around it, and then we will have the connection with the industry. And then with the connection, I think that's where we got the confidence as a team to put ourselves in the industry, because from there we know that okay, fair enough, it's not that much resources or materials or books that are out there that are helping the industry to grow. So you know, if the academic staying within the boundary of academic, then we wouldn't be able to engage and learn that you know, our expertise are needed, our writings are needed, and our you know, trainings are needed to the industry. So I think that that confidence come from the engagement as well. So yeah, I think that is what pushed me and the team to go to the public, to the industry, to offer something. And then book is something that we, you know, one of our around the engagement. Yeah, that's our experience, 15 years experience in Sharia governance and assurance.
Wow, that's a lot. That I think, like, I'm so proud of you, Professor Zurina, for condensing that 15 years of experience into like a 2-minute talk, because I know that is a lot to condense. But the journey that you went through, that you painted, the challenges, and you touched something about, you know, there's perfection, right? Like a lot of the time people just wait for to have the perfect little thing, the perfect idea, the perfect title, the perfect theme, the perfect chapter. And a lot of the time people hardly ever get to put their ideas into a chapter because of this perfectionism is just so big. And then you touch about, you know, rather than having it all together, I just start with whatever that I have. And I think that is just key of like exactly like Datin Saoora and Dr. Nathasa mentioned, that whatever it is that the knowledge that they have at that moment of time, that little thing, and they just run with it, and you just run with it. And Prof Zurina, I just wanted to touch base, and then we'll wrap up with this imperfection thing of like going like the not, because perfection is an illusion, is a trap. But rather than waiting for that, you are like, you know what, this is what I have. This is what that is like what I have. This is what I feel is the best at this moment. And I have people that can help me. I'm going to take a step forward. So I want to talk about if you can give some tips to the audience of overcoming that perfectionism, and what is the first step that you took to write the first chapter, or even the first line, and then the next one, and then the next one.
I'm not sure whether I am the best person to answer this because, you know, I don't really write a lot as compared to Datin. But I think it's from the strength of the team members. If you ask what is the most for us to go and do it, is because you know, we have to put something out there because of the need to contribute, because you know, we in academic, we have the conscience because as a teacher, as a lecturer, we are building capacity of future generation. So, you know, stemming from that, in addition to teaching, you know, when we teach using the materials of, you know, the conventional materials, because my area of Sharia governance and audit is a variation to the conventional governance and audit. Having said that, you know, after 15 years of development of the area, then of course we have to put something out there for the readers to learn and to probably grow, for them to look at the, I mean, for them to increase the competency, their skills, and also to develop other characteristics. So it's, I think, the passion to to the continuous engagement to the stakeholders. That is, you know, when we go to the industry and when we have a discussion that, you know, these areas need a lot of work on a lot of writings and a lot of engagement, case studies and so on, and then as team that, you know, up for challenge, then we say, yeah, we up for the challenge to write something about it. So because you know, industry practitioners, they are to write, then you know, we really have to sit down and write about it. So you know, upon realizing that, I mean, with the engagement with the stakeholders, then driven by the I think motivation to further engage, then we come with the output. Like, you know, even with the students, when we started the program on Sharia audit in 2008, there wasn't any resources, or even the industry wasn't not, I wanted to say developed, but the industry was, it wasn't there at first time when we started it. Actually is what pushing us to produce and you know, continue with the engagement. So yeah,
I think that's a great kind of like it's a great way to see, like, again, in touching base on the point of teamwork, right? You gotta look, if you have an amazing team, the best team would always demand the best from you. Like, they, you know, at times when you feel like, oh, I don't want to do this, they'll be like, okay, they'll be the one who's like, nope, you got to do this. They hold you into accountability, they will guide you, they will take care of you, and they want to see you win. So I think, like, you touch it, like, even that's the point that Dr. Nathasa highlighted, like having the best team to help you, to give you the ideas for it, and that's going to help to give the courage to put yourself forward. So thank you so much, Prof Zurina, and then I'm going to touch base to Dr. Nathasa, and as we're wrapping up the conversation, so Dr. Nathasa, give us a tip. What's your tip or advice that you can give to upcoming authors or already published authors, to have the courage to put themselves forward to share about their idea? Because I think in one of the things I talked about in the workshop that we had together last month at in Malaysia, in Nilai, was that first, like, you gotta have your book and you gotta have a picture of your book, and this is also one of the things, in the sense that you are in sharing it about on TV. So what's your tip and advice so that other people have the courage to put themselves forward and share about their idea?
Okay, I think first of all, you must have a good vision. Just like you know, girls like always like to daydreams and all that. So have like a visions, visualize yourself. Your book is on a shelf, right? So I am a mother to 3 girls and a boy. So I always imagine like what would be my children's feeling if they see my names on the shelf. So that's are the visions that always motivate me. I think you always have goals and visions. So once you have that visions, you want to give a good example. Like myself, I want to give a good example to my kids. So that's my personal visions and reasons for me to keep me motivated. So I think all upcoming authors and all that, you must have what really push you. Is it because sometimes money or anything? But for me, I really want to make my children proud of me. I want to see my books is on the shelf, and there are Nathasa Ramli on the shelf. So I think that make me want to write and see my name on a cover. So I think that's really push me. And I think for any upcoming authors, have a target, goals, your personal goals, what really make you want
Okay, apologies about the interruption. I think we're back. Thank you so much, Dr. Nathasa, about having the vision. Like for you, you could see yourself or your book on a shelf, and that is the vision that is calling you, right? That is the calling you. That is kind of like calling you, guiding you in taking certain actions that are in alignment with your vision. For example, writing your book, talking about your book, using your book, and also because of our children. And we sometimes we forget that how our actions will have an impact to our children and how it will inspire them. And the people around us, and you know, as a mother, I couldn't agree more, because what are we teaching our children if we're scared to go for our dreams? What are we teaching our children? Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Nathasa, for your sharing, and I can just you know, it's just makes me like so proud to be a mom, to have another mom who have the same vision, because you know, now both of my children, I have 3 children, both of them are best-selling authors. So my daughter Nadia has a book. Thank you. So it's kind of like the pathway that we create, right, Dr. Nathasa? Like the pathway that we created is now trickling in to our children and our family. So that is fantastic. So let's wrap up the conversation with Datin Saoora here. What is your tips and advice for authors, to already existing authors or upcoming authors, to put out their work? Because you're at a place, Datin, where that's what a few people want to be. They want to be known about their work. They want to be known as the go-to expert in their field. They want to be invited to places to talk about their work. So what is your tips and advice for people to have the courage to be seen, to be heard, and also to have the confidence to own it?
All right, thank you, Izdihar. Now, when I started writing, I just want to write, Izdihar. I don't have any other intention besides I write and write, you know. It seems so natural for me to write. When one book came to another book, and came the 3rd book and the 4th book. So my advice to the new writers is just write it for your passion, you know. Whatever benefit will come later. But you have to start writing whatever materials that come into your mind. There will be a time when after you have written few books, then people start to acknowledge you or recognize you. But when your first book came out, nobody quite noticed you. But it was only after your 3rd or your 4th book. But I'm not saying it happened to all, like yours. It's I think your first book was really a boom, is it not? But not everyone will be like you, Izdihar. My first book, I think, was very unnoticed. But maybe because of the lack of strategy of promoting it, yeah. But however, Izdihar, my advice to the newcomer is that, to the new writers, the novice, is that just write, you know. And when your intention is good, that you write for out of your heart, then inshallah the benefit will come out later. For those who are very experienced writer, my tip is that you need to write so that you will give a very good impact. When you are an experienced writer, so many books, you need to come up with something that will influence the readers, yeah, that will benefit the society, that will make your book a book of sincerity. do not think of whatever reward will come. Yeah, because if you start to write and you say that you write it because you want to get any reward, it will be some sort of imperfection. Because if you want to get reward because of your writing, you will try to be perfect in it. Yeah, when you want to be imperfect of it, then it will never end in the process of writing. Okay, so just write and don't ever think of whatever reward that you will get. For newcomers, just start to scribble anything, you know, and then put up materials that will support your writing. For experienced writer, I think that you need to write, to have this magnum opus that you really are very happy of writing it. So I think that's it, Izdihar.
Thank you so much, Datin. Thank you so much. I think you touch up the point of, you just got to write because of what is your intention. Again, coming back to that. Because, yes, you can have the intention to have the glory, to have the fame, but I think like the true impact of writing is that when you want to write because you want to help others, because you want to live, like Datin mentions about this impact, like I call it living a legacy. What is the legacy that you want to leave behind and helping others? I mean, just imagine when people come to you and say, you changed my life, you helped me, you do this, you saved my life. Like that alone surpasses any glory, any kind of recognition that you can have. That's what I think Datin really touched the point, that you write because you want to write. Like, what is the intention? Put your intention for clarity. I think that you will never go wrong, or in a way that you will always be guided when you have the right intention. And like Datin said, the other things will come because of your work and your truthfulness and your courage and your authenticity and commitment. I feel that over time, when you look at history, people are attracted to people who are courageous, people who are committed, people who are truthful. Those are the qualities that attract people, and you would see it like that. It will come across in your book. I don't know how to explain it, but people will feel like who you are from your book, your heart, your soul, your ideas. It's not just a methodology, but people will feel it. So thank you so much, Datin, for that valuable tip and information. Like it's like I've written multiple books. I've written, I think, 14 or 15 books, but it's always coming down. Yes, I talk about media and publicity, but it's always coming down to my experience that I want to share that can help others. That's definitely for me. So I want to wrap up this conversation with each of the authors sharing one word that encompasses that experience as being an author. So I'm going to start with Prof Zurina. So Prof Zurina, what is your one word that encompasses your experience as an author?
Mashallah, mashallah, you caught me there. One word and not more.
One word.
Mashallah. Yeah, I think it's yeah, you have to sit down and write. That is not one word, so sit down.
Just write, maybe write.
Just
right?
write. Yeah, just write.
Express yourself, like.
Yeah, because if you have so many theories around it, then you will not be able to do it at all in the end, because you're gonna have so many theory that people don't like it, and then people will challenge it, of course, because when we start to write, then there will be response to it, because we are communicating via our writing. So don't be afraid. Maybe, yeah, don't be afraid to grow. I don't know.
Beautiful. And just have the courage, just come by it, and then just write and write and write. So Dr. Nathasa, what's your one word?
Probably commitment.
Committed. That is like it's the essence
of
everything.
We have a lot of responsibilities as a teacher, as a mother, but if you have a commitment, I think you can do it.
And I think as well as the like honoring your commitment. Like
Yeah,
it's like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna do that, but there's no honor in it. There's no action. There's no
Yes.
action to it. It's just gonna flush the drain. And again,
Yes.
we talk about the legacy that we want to leave to others for our children, right? If we say something and we don't
Absolutely.
do it, what are we teaching our children? Because
Them.
that's the footstep that we are living in. So Datin Saoora, what's your one
Yeah.
learning about being an author?
Sincerity.
Sincerity.
Sincere.
Yeah, just being sincere, being truthful, being authentic, and whatever it is that you do. And you can tell like that thing with her book and her essence in itself. It's all coming from the heart. It's all coming from what is it that is most important to her in giving back. So thank you so much, Prof Zurina, Dr. Nathasa, and Datin Saoora for joining me today. I know we say about 20-30 minutes, but we've taken a little bit longer. That's what happened when ladies talk, that we have such a good time in having a conversation. So for those of you who wanting to find out more about their books, so ladies, can we show the books for just a second and just highlight everybody? So each of them are authors. So they have their book here, and I think the best place to find out more about their work is by reaching out to them either via the USIM website, or also going directly to USIM Press, who is their publisher for the book. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Thank you for watching the show. Yes, I Can, with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil. Tell yourself, yes, I can, and so it is done. And for those of you who would love to find out more about publicity, media, and book publishing, go to izdiharjamil.com. So ladies, let's sign off and say goodbye to everybody. Say bye.
Bye everyone. Bye everyone.
Bye. Thank you.